Hello, everyone, and welcome. My name is Keisha Morris. I am a third-year PhD student with the School of Business and Leadership at Regent University, where I am studying organizational leadership with a focus in human resources development. Today, I will be presenting on the topic, Developing Underrepresented Talent, a closer look at an untapped pool. This topic is a timely one and one that merits further investigation, not only because the employees who fit the underrepresented descriptive are often the ones that are overlooked and neglected when it comes to development, but because but also rather from a diversity, equity, and inclusion perspective, it fosters and nurtures an equitable work environment where employees feel valued, cared for, and can lean into their overall engagement. All very important aspects to have as organizations look to create great places to work or best-in-class work environments to attract and retain the best talent in the marketplace. Before we actually jump into the crux of this presentation here, I just wanted to spend a moment or two and really talk about the why behind this topic and why it is important to really have a conversation around the development of underrepresented talent. It's important for a number of reasons, and I'm just going to go over a few of them here. So let's go ahead and begin. The first reason why it is important, why we have this discussion around the development of underrepresented talent, is because it helps organizations meet their talent needs. The fact is, organizations are experiencing talent shortages unlike any other they have in a very, very long time. Many are scrambling to fill open positions to help them keep their doors open or to simply produce their expected outcomes. Organizations need talent, and one of the best places to find it is within its own walls. The workforce has really changed since the pandemic, and it's very much different than the way that we entered the pandemic. The composition of the workforce has changed, with the most significant shifts coming or occurring in organizations that approach the talent from a different perspective. Organizations that now approach the talent they have in a different way, that approach the talent that they may need in a different way, and approach really meeting the expectations that their current talent has of them, they're the ones that are finding themselves to be at a competitive advantage than those in their industry or in their respective places. So that's why it's really important that we look to address this talent shortage by looking at the employees that one may have within their own walls currently. The other reason why this is important is because it helps to reduce turnover and associated costs. How? Because organizations will not have to look externally for talent and to fill positions that they currently have. They can now leverage institutional knowledge, existing relationships, and in-house talent to really meet the talent needs or the production needs that they are currently facing. The other reason why this is an important topic is because it helps to increase employee engagement and retention, thereby reducing the likelihood of an employee leaving for external opportunities or simply just to be developed. A lot of the research is now supporting that most individuals will leave organization, not because so much of the manager or the leader that they're under, but because of the lack of development opportunities they are currently experiencing. The other reason why it's an important aspect is because it demonstrates value of the employee by the organization. It really shows a tangible investment that organizations are placing in their employees when they actually put a dollar amount behind their development opportunities for their entire workforce. And then another reason here is that it creates a visible commitment to diversity and its diverse talent. The fact is, in the post-pandemic workforce, uh, the workforce members have made it clear and now have clear demands for current and prospective employers that diversity, equity, inclusion is at the top of their list, as well as having a sense of purpose and the overall employee experience are now strategic priority staples within the employee experience. Without a visible commitment to these items, organizations will begin to lose their internal talent and really run the risk of being avoided by external talent as well. Now that we understand the why behind this topic, it's important to establish what is meant by underrepresented. So let's take a look here. I have two definitions on the slide, one with underrepresented and one with minorities. Go ahead and take a few moments and just briefly scan that to see some of the differences here. So hopefully you had an opportunity to read that. If not, let me just summarize it really briefly. So what's the difference here between underrepresented versus minorities? Well, as you can see from the definitions, when we are talking about underrepresented, we are speaking about individuals who are inadequately represented in the workforce. While when we speak of minorities, we are really talking about an identified group within a country or state that differs from the dominant group. And when we talk about that identified group that differs from a dominant group, this includes characteristics like race or religion or national origin. So now when we talk about what an underrepresented group is, what we are really describing is a subset of a population that holds a smaller percentage within a significant subgroup than it holds in the general population. So I'll give you a few examples. An example of an underrepresented group would be women or women of color within, say, for example, the STEM fields, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics field. Or if we're talking about African American women in executive roles. That's also an underrepresented group that is currently within the marketplace. So we can definitely see the difference here between underrepresented and minorities. So again, when we're talking about the underrepresented talent, what we're actually talking about are individuals within an organization's talent pool who are not members of a dominant group and are represented in certain job categories in smaller numbers. Really important for us to make that distinction so we can make sure that we are focusing on the right group going forward. So I just want to take a couple moments here and talk about the historical context as it relates to underrepresented talent in the workforce and just what we have really been experiencing in terms of, just the overall culture, the overall climate as it relates to the underrepresented talent and what has been done and where we are currently as a nation, as a workforce rather. So when we talk about the historical context, it's important to remember that, for since the 1960s, rather, we have as a country really tried to acknowledge the inequities between different racial classes or social classes within the workforce in the United States, and really look for opportunities to help right those wrongs. And so we can look at laws like the affirmative action laws or the equal opportunity laws that were really established in the 1960s by the federal government as a way to really address the need of being able to develop underrepresented talent within the workforce and really be able to create a level playing field. And so this is something that we have as a nation really been working towards addressing and acknowledging and really putting things in place to be able to bridge the gap, right? So that's one historical context of underrepresented talent in the workforce. The other piece I wanted to mention here is that whether we know it or not, underrepresented talent really accounts for almost a quarter of the workforce, right? So when we're talking about an underdeveloped, untapped group of individuals to allow the U.S. workforce or companies and organizations within that context really help them to meet their organizational needs. We really have an opportunity to have a quarter of the workforce be able to demonstrate their true talent, to develop to their true skills and abilities, to be able to help organizations reach their maximum potential. So that's a significant number. The other thing I wanted to really point out here about this underrepresented talent pool is that whether we know it or not, most individuals within this talent pool are either on the front line or in non-managerial roles. So these are the individuals who are really doing the day-to-day practical, tactical, activities that are needed in order for organizations to survive. They have the skill set, they have the tenacity, they have what is needed to kind of keep organizations going at its foundational level, but just really haven't had the opportunity to move past that glass ceiling there to be able to move into higher level positions or more skilled level positions because of how they present. An interesting fact about our underrepresented talent pool is that, and this is something I found very intriguing, is that normally, because our underrepresented talent pool, the majority of those individuals are on the front line or in non-managerial roles, chances are most of those individuals do not have advanced degrees. And when it comes to training and development dollars within most organizations, traditionally that money is spent on employees with advanced degrees. So we can see how not being able to include them, how their development has been stunted simply because they don't have an advanced degree. The other two components that really play into this historical context, of course, is unconscious bias, as it creates barriers to advancements for some individuals, and then also the limited exposure that they've had to understanding what career advancement would look like, as well as strategies or programs that are in place to help them. So what can we do to help? When we think about the underrepresented talent development, I want to really say here that it's not something that's a nice to have. It really is a strategy that's untapped and can yield significant returns if organizations will take the opportunity and the time to do that. McKinsey & Company recently published an article regarding people and organizational performance and stated that talent is critical to every organization, which we all know, but it's only through investment, through development, hiring, and empowerment and inclusion that allows for organizations to really be able to execute their strategic priorities so that their organizations will thrive into the future. Developing underrepresented talent is an investment strategy that will yield both long and short-term benefits for people and organizations. And the way that we can think about doing this is really by implementing some of the strategies related to this. Number one, cultivate a culture of learning and development. We talk about creating cultures of learning and development quite, often, but really being able to include everyone within a particular organization and not those with just an advanced degree or happens to be in a particular area of the organization. Really making this available to everyone is a key point in this strategy for developing underrepresented talent. The other piece here is to also look to create a talent-rich organization. When we talk about creating a talent-rich organization, what we're talking about is creating an organization that looks at talent at all levels within an organization to assemble a mixture of individuals with great potential to be organizational leaders. Really recognizing that everyone has the potential to be a leader and giving everyone the opportunity to be able to do that. By being able to create a talent-rich organization, organizations are then able to build a comprehensive architecture or framework around talent development programs, right? Being able to really put together a structure, a plan that includes everyone to be able to develop each person at their respective level so that the organization can perform at optimal levels. The other aspect here about it being a strategy is that it fosters inclusive talent development pipeline programs, and that also it will help to increase the utilization of institutional knowledge, relationships, and resources to achieve strategic goals. So how are we able to do that? Well, the key to developing underrepresented talent is to create development pathways. You can do that by creating an employee development plan, not a performance management plan, but an employee development plan where you can design clear pathways for non-exempt to exempt roles. You can create work experiences comprised of meaningful experiential learning opportunities and skill-based learning, and also look to invest and promote upskilling programs utilizing the Mailer leadership pipeline model, which simply states, for every level that an employee or an individual is on, to really create values or objectives for that particular level, and then begin to upskill or reskill or train individuals to be able to meet that need. And then also really adopting a culture of teach, coaching, mentoring, and sponsoring. Being able to teach individuals what they need, be able to coach them up to the level that is needed, to provide mentorship opportunities, and then finally to be able to sponsor individuals so that they're not only so that their names are in rooms where they aren't, and they're able to do to be able to be placed into positions that will get them to the next level. As we think about implementing this type of strategies, there's some things to consider. Normally, with leadership development programs, there's always a leader nominated kind of position or approach that organizations take. But I think a really great way to be able to allow individuals to take ownership of their development is to have them self-identify themselves into those programs. Being able to participate not because someone says you can, but rather because you have the desire, the willingness, and also now the access to do that will really help to bring the underrepresented talent pool into the forefront and to be able to take control of their own destinies. The other thing to consider is generational composition of the workforce. Really be able to acknowledge and to really develop programs geared to the needs, wants, and preferences of the different generations, and be able to give them exactly what they want, when in need, and how they want it. And then to create a path forward for them, a clear path forward, really outlining expectations on career progression and organizational advancement, really giving them the tools and the map that's needed to measure their success and measure their progression by. These are the strategies that can be implemented in order to develop underrepresented talent to be able to get to the level that they need. If you have any questions or concerns, please feel free to let me know. I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for watching this presentation.